I actually called the SpaceX IPO about 3 years ago, kind of. So there's a video that I posted in 2023 saying that space will be the next trillion-dollar industry. And while I'm not sure what the most recent trillion-dollar industry at that point was, I think it's close enough to give me some credit that space as a whole, definitely now, because SpaceX has a $1 trillion valuation, and maybe even earlier while it was still a private company with all the other investment going into space technology right now. I don't know what other new industries, maybe AI as an industry was a $1 trillion industry before space was, but I'm not sure. Either way, I feel like I got it pretty close, and I wanted to just talk about the SpaceX IPO. If you scroll down to my first videos, they're all about space, and that's one of my biggest interests, both personally and professionally, so I think this is par for the course. I don't want to talk about valuations, or this isn't stock investment advice. I think it's just crazy to me. I believed in space, and obviously you look at my old videos, like I kind of called this, but it's just weird when it actually happens. And I feel like a lot of my friends and people I know call me crazy for this. In college, I was really interested in space. At one point, my degree was astronomy. I decided to switch that to, honestly, so I could get my GPA up, because those classes are a lot harder than political science classes, which is a track to go into law school. So looking back, maybe I should have kept the astronomy degree, because I still could have gone to law school, and that's a lot cooler. As someone who's kind of watched the space industry grow up from the end of the 20th century, as a kid, it was all NASA, very little private investment until SpaceX, really. I don't remember seeing the Falcon 1 launch. Obviously, I've seen it many times, replays of it now. But that truly was it. Just a world-changing event, and obviously we can see the significance of it now, but I think even back then, if you were at all familiar with the industry or just space, or the potential for that it has for humanity, you'd know that was a big deal. And obviously seeing the Falcon 9 launch, the boosters landing, I feel like that's when it really started to get the attention of everyone, at least as a commercially viable thing. Obviously, it's really cool to see like the space shuttle launches and the launches that NASA has been doing since the 60s. But this is truly something different. A lot of investment had already been going into space companies for not so much far out things like asteroid mining, although there are legitimate companies that have significant funds invested into them to figure that out. But companies that are launching satellites, especially, that's been going on forever. Even, satellite TV, satellite internet, that's been a thing for a long time before Starlink and SpaceX. It's just the rate at which it's going up now, and the cost of what they can, since they're vertically integrated, SpaceX, and they're iterating on these satellite versions and making those cheaper and cheaper, and the launch costs, you can look at the financials, it's a real viable business, and I think that's kind of their foothold into just continuing to stretch the horizon and what's possible commercially in space. I feel like my biggest argument for why it's going to be, which maybe I'll call this now, space will be, for 2026, it will be the first quadrillion-dollar industry. And I don't know when that will happen, but I'm only saying that because if you know anything about outer space, you'll know that it's a lot bigger than just Earth. And that's essentially where all economic activity happens right now. So, whether it takes 50, 100, 200 years, eventually the economy of space is going to surpass Earth. There's just way more space out there. And when Elon talks about the Kardashev scale and how we're, not even a type 1 civilization on the Kardashev scale because we're not harnessing the full power of Earth. I'm not sure what percentage of the way we're there yet, or if that includes harnessing solar power. But a type 2 civilization is one that utilizes all the energy of its home star, which for us would be the sun. And, we're not even close to that. And the potential to harness even some of it would give us way more energy than we would ever need, at least on Earth. So I'm as soon as I heard that Elon was, the goal of SpaceX was to make humans a multiplanetary species, it was like, that's a pretty good goal. And I'm fully aligned with it, and have kind of, I think deep down, believe that is true already. And so I'm not sure about the financials, not so much the financials. I'm not sure about the stock price of the company and where it's going to go and all that stuff. But all I do know is that there's a lot more out there than there is on Earth. And I think right now this is the best shot we have at tapping into that and expanding our presence beyond just Earth and going to the moon, going to Mars. And, who knows what's going to happen once Starship is fully built, integrated, and running. I mean, I was reading something today that I think the Falcon 9 brought launch costs down from, thousands of dollars per kilogram in orbit to like $500, and Starship's going to take it down to like $100 or tens of dollars per kilogram. I mean, it's crazy. At that point, there's going to be ideas and businesses that literally were not even possible without that transportation layer. So I think it's going to be huge. Obviously, from a financial perspective, it's kind of crazy that it went so long under like private investment, and when it IPO'd, obviously it's the largest IPO in history. So it, did retail investors get as much exposure to that and access? Like maybe not, but also I who knows how much further it has to go, and who knows what the future holds. I am definitely a big believer in SpaceX. I think it's the foundational company for space exploration, which is at this point crazy, not something it's just obvious to everyone now. But I've been kind of harping on this for years, so it's crazy to see it fully materialize, and really the sky's the limit.